I stood at the front door, arms crossed, watching my husband load his suitcase into the back of his car. The autumn air was crisp, but I barely felt the cold. My mind was elsewhere, restless, distracted. "I'll call you when I land," he said, giving me the same tired kiss on the cheek he always did before his business trips. "Be safe," I replied, my voice empty of emotion. He got into the car, started the engine, and within seconds, he was gone. Just like that, I was alone again. I exhaled deeply, stepping back inside and locking the door behind me. The silence wrapped around me like a heavy blanket. I should have been used to it by now. Being a businessman's wife meant nights spent in solitude. But this time, the loneliness felt different. It wasn't just the absence of his presence. It was the absence of desire, of warmth, of excitement. I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of wine, and sat at the dining table, staring out the window. That's when I saw him. Marcus. My neighbor. My temptation. He was outside, shirtless, watering his front yard. The dim glow of the streetlight highlighted every inch of his muscular frame, his dark skin glistening under the moisture. My breath hitched slightly as I watched the way his arms flexed with each movement. We had always been friendly. Maybe a little too friendly. I remembered the casual conversations we'd had by the mailbox, the way he'd hold eye contact just a second longer than necessary. The accidental touches that lingered. The way he would smirk whenever my husband was around, like he knew something I didn't. I took a sip of my wine, trying to ignore the heat creeping up my neck. Then, my phone buzzed. A message. "Marcus, he's gone, huh?" I stared at the screen, my fingers hesitating over the keyboard. Me? Yes. A few seconds passed. "Marcus, you seem lonely." I swallowed hard. He wasn't wrong. Me, I'm fine. Another pause. "Marcus, liar." I let out a breathy laugh, shaking my head. He was bold. Too bold. But that was what made him dangerous. I placed my phone face down on the table, heart pounding. I should have ignored him. I should have finished my wine, gone upstairs, and forgotten this ever happened. But deep down, I already knew I wasn't going to do that. Tonight was the start of something I couldn't stop. The next morning, I tried to go about my day as if nothing had happened. I cleaned the house, ran errands, and even called my husband, pretending everything was normal. But my mind kept drifting back to Marcus. His text. His confidence. The way he seemed to know exactly what I was thinking. By the afternoon, I found myself standing by the window again, looking toward his house. As if he could feel my eyes on him, the door swung open. Marcus stepped out, a knowing smirk playing on his lips. "Morning, beautiful," he called out, leaning casually against his porch railing. I hesitated before stepping outside. "Morning. You look like you could use some company," he said, his voice smooth and inviting. I should have said no. I should have laughed it off and gone back inside. But instead, I found myself asking, "You got anything to drink?" Marcus chuckled. "Always." He held the door open, waiting for me to step inside. My heart pounded as I crossed the threshold into his home, the scent of his cologne instantly surrounding me. This is a mistake. But it didn't feel like one. I followed him into the living room, where he poured 2 glasses of whiskey. So, tell me, he said, handing me a glass. What's a woman like you doing in a situation like this? I took a slow sip, the burn of the liquor settling in my chest. A situation like what? Marcus smirked. Sitting in another man's house while her husband is away. A nervous laugh escaped me. You make it sound worse than it is. Isn't it? He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping to a lower, more intimate tone. My breath hitched. The air between us was thick, charged. I knew this was dangerous. I knew I was playing with fire. But the way he was looking at me, the way his presence commanded the space, made it impossible to walk away. Before I could say another word, Marcus reached out, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers lingered for just a second too long, sending a shiver down my spine. I see the way you look at me, he murmured. I see the way you crave something more. My lips parted, but no words came out. Then he closed the distance. His lips met mine, soft yet demanding, his hands gripping my waist as he pulled me closer. A gasp escaped me as the kiss deepened, heat rushing through my body. Every thought of guilt, every reason to stop, vanished in an instant. This wasn't just a kiss, it was years of pent-up desire, a hunger I had ignored for too long. And I was starving. If you love deep, dramatic storytelling like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more thrilling tales. The days that followed felt like a dream, one I never wanted to wake up from. My body, my mind, my soul craved Marcus in ways I never thought possible. Every moment without him felt like torture, and every stolen second in his arms felt like pure escape. But the danger of what we were doing became more real with every passing day. One evening, as I was leaving his house, I saw Mrs. Patterson, the elderly neighbor from across the street, peeking through her curtains. My breath caught in my throat. Had she seen me? I forced a polite smile and waved, pretending everything was normal. But the way she pursed her lips and slowly closed her curtains sent a chill through me. I hurried home, my heart racing. This was reckless. Too reckless. I tried to tell myself I needed to stop, but the very next night, I was back in Marcus's arms. I think my neighbor saw me leaving your house yesterday. I whispered against his chest as we lay on his couch, the television playing in the background. Marcus chuckled, his fingers trailing lightly down my arm. Let her see. I sat up, frowning. That's not funny. He tilted his head, studying me. You worried about getting caught? Of course I am. Marcus smirked, reaching out to tuck a strand of hair behind my ear. Then why are you still here? I opened my mouth to answer, but no words came. Because the truth was, I didn't want to leave. No matter how risky this was, no matter how much I knew it could destroy everything, I wasn't ready to let go. Then my phone rang. I nearly jumped off the couch, scrambling to grab it from my purse. My stomach dropped when I saw the name on the screen. My husband. I shot Marcus a panicked look before answering. Hey, honey. Hey, babe. My husband's voice came through the phone, warm and familiar. How's everything at home? I swallowed hard, forcing a smile he couldn't see. Everything's fine. How's your trip? Actually, that's why I called, he said. I wrapped things up early. I'm coming home tomorrow. My breath caught. Tomorrow? I forced out a laugh. Wow, that's unexpected. You don't sound happy to hear that, he teased. No, no. Of course I am. I just. I wasn't expecting you so soon. Well, surprise, he said. I'll see you in the morning. I love you. I love you too. The moment I ended the call, I felt the weight of reality crash down on me. Marcus stretched lazily on the couch, completely unbothered. Guess that means tonight's our last night. I stared at him, my emotions in turmoil. This was it. The fantasy was ending. But I couldn't resist one last taste of danger. What happens when secrets are exposed? If you're enjoying this thrilling tale, don't forget to like and subscribe for more dramatic stories. The next morning, I woke up with a sinking feeling in my stomach. My husband would be home soon, and the weight of my choices pressed heavily on me. I tried to go about my routine as usual, tidying up the house, making coffee, but my hands trembled. Every noise outside made me flinch, expecting his car to pull into the driveway. And then it finally did. I watched through the window as he stepped out, suitcase in hand, looking tired but happy to be home. I forced a smile and rushed to the door, greeting him with a hug. Missed you, he murmured against my hair. Missed you too, I whispered, the guilt thick in my throat. I followed him into the kitchen, where he placed his suitcase by the counter. I tried to focus, to act normal, but I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff. Then, the unexpected happened. A knock at the back door. My heart nearly stopped. Before I could react, my husband turned and opened it. And there stood Marcus. The air in the kitchen became suffocating in an instant. Marcus's eyes flicked to me, his expression unreadable. My husband, oblivious, smiled and extended a hand. Hey man, I've been meaning to introduce myself properly. Marcus shook his hand with a smirk. Nice to finally meet you. I swallowed hard, my pulse pounding. I couldn't tell if Marcus was toying with me or if he was genuinely unbothered. You need something? My husband asked. Marcus leaned against the door frame, looking far too comfortable. Just wanted to return this. He reached into his pocket and pulled out my scarf, the one I had left at his house. I felt the blood drain from my face. My husband frowned, taking the scarf. This looks like yours, babe. I forced a laugh, my voice unsteady. Oh, yeah, I must have left it outside. Marcus held my gaze for a moment longer before giving a slow nod. Just being a good neighbor. Then, with a final knowing glance, he turned and walked away. The door shut, leaving only silence. My husband looked at me, brow furrowed. Everything okay? I forced a smile, but inside I knew. This wasn't over. What happens when secrets come too close to the surface? If you're enjoying this dramatic tale, don't forget to like and subscribe for more thrilling stories.